if a Blessing of Kings goes unchecked for a turn or so, it can deliver some massive damage. And once again, University of Nevada has clearly put their Freeze Mage player in the right spot. And look at their expression after that mulligan. They have Loot Hoarder and Frost Nova and Doomsayer in this hand.
Yeah.
TJ, I think right from the get-go, they have an advantage.
Yeah, but I mean, we talked about it earlier, a big Mysterious Challenger turn. Wow. If they don't have the tools to line it up with correctly, then it could be rough. But that is nearly a dream hand if you're a Freeze Mage player.
Yep, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah. I believe that's Hot Meowth, who's the Freeze Mage expert for UNR, taking the reins there.
It's a golden mage too, so there's a lot of games back behind that one. And just as you said, Dream Start, Mad Scientist, they got a Loot Hoarder back behind this. They're facing down a shielded mini-bot with their Mad Scientist. This start just really can't get much better. Now, the downside is they have drawn 2 Frostbolts, so a little bit of utility being picked up here, but still a lot of ways to start pressuring, and they're going for the life total early on.
You have to be careful if you're UNR in this situation to not get too much pressure put on you early, but looking at this hand from Berkeley, I mean, 2 secrets in early on, both Avenges in the top 6 cards, plus a Repentance, which really doesn't do much. I mean, I guess for Doomsayers, it's a pretty big deal, but other than that, it's not that great.
Well, it's only a big deal in Doomsayer if you can deliver that point of damage as well. You have to have Must for Battle, you're going to have to consecrate with it. You're also going to have it dodge a Mad Scientist or a Loot Hoarder in a situation like that. And this is the danger of playing this Secrets Paladin, is it has a lot of cards dedicated to strictly utility, so that Mysterious Challenger can provide you with those big swing turns. So when you get hands like these, they end up being very dangerous. So normally in a spot like this, I think Berkeley would feel comfortable just counter pressuring in this situation. But Freeze Mage is a deck that it's not looking to pressure you out of the game with minions. And so because of that, when you start trading damage with them, it gets very dangerous. That's a situation they clearly want to avoid. They're going to take out this Mad Scientist now, give University of Nevada their value, and hope that this is enough to sustain the board pressure for a while.
Yeah, and he does play the Repentance, so pretty much emptying his hand. And UNR picks up Alex Straza. You talked about the double Frostbolts, and now Alex Straza. They had a really good hand, but now they need some cycle. The Loot Hoarder's not really going to have that much longevity. They need to pick up like those Arcane Intellects, maybe some Acolytes of Pain in order to get further through their deck, because once that Mysterious Challenger comes out, there's a lot of damage that the Secret Paladin can do.
Now, that being said, you do have to look at it from Berkeley's perspective. University of Nevada has now swung at your face twice with their minions, so clearly showing that pushing damage is a little bit on their radar. Berkeley's going to continue, I think, to play a little bit defensive in this situation. And they also only have 2 cards left, and when University of Nevada's not playing any cards and they're attacking you, it's usually a pretty good sign that they have some hefty defense in their hand. We can see that it is just 2 Frostbolts, which are not exactly the most efficient in this situation. But still, they have to be sweating it a little bit, and once they see the ice barrier, that's a lot of life to chew through.
Indeed it is, and they pick up Competitive Spirit, which actually is not that bad of a card to draw in this situation, because we've seen what UNR's priorities are. They're avoiding secrets, they're pushing face damage, they're probably not going to consider attacking in because they avoided it last turn, and they're going to realize that it's Competitive Spirit most likely after attacking in here. Because they can rule out Noble Sacrifice over the past 3 turns. But it might be able to get some damage in still. Double Ice Barrier, hard to get through. When you're playing an aggressive deck, having those in your hand early on, or having those come from Mad Scientist early on in the game is a really big deal.
Yeah, so each one of these draws continues to be more important for Berkeley. That is not the order you want to draw those secrets and the Secret Keeper in. And this is the other side of it we talked about. With having that Control Warrior deck, they probably wanted something a little bit more aggressive in their lineup.
Yeah.
This is now that build. So stuff that you can oftentimes rule out when you see this much stuff is those big mid to late game pushes. So I still think Tyrion is pretty likely to be in here, but now I kind of look at it, maybe something like Lotheb, maybe even Dr. Boom, suddenly off the radar.
Yeah. If Secret Keeper wasn't played, the secrets pulled from a Mysterious Challenger would buff it up, but that is not the case.
Add an Antique Heal Bot to that hand for University of Nevada. They have a lot of defense going on. But something else that's happening is they're at such a high life total, they actually can't utilize these cards quite yet. And, that's where you really start to think about first world problems. Like, oh no, I can't heal for 8.
What to do?
Yep.
What to do?
And UNR, I mean, they have to sort of realize their win condition here. Is Frost Nova Doomsaver even that good? Because if you play it this turn, then it's just going to get, well, I guess if you're playing it this way, you're going to be left with 2 1/1 tokens. If it goes off, you're just worried that, hey, one of those secrets might be Repentance.
Yeah, I mean,
Doomsayer is going to be vulnerable.
They're clearly worried about this being Repentance, and so that's, I think, one of the reasons why they're using the Doomsayer right now is they want to kind of get this word out of the way. I don't think it really matters what order they play the Frostnode with the Doomsayer in. But Berkeley's going to have a point of damage to poke this down, and so I think UNR is a little bit nervous about this, but they do have a Flame Strike in their hand. Again, they're 36 life. They have anti-heal bot. I think even if this gets poked away, they're still pretty comfortable with it. And Berkeley,
It's going to go off.
This is not the turn they're looking for.
Yeah, this is just like a hero power pass turn and play Avenge, and you play Avenge this turn, you're not going to get your Secret Keepers buffed up.
Yeah, I think you hold on to the Avenge because of that.
Yeah, and Mysterious Challenger not coming down on turn 6 because they're just going to get caught up in that Doomsayer, and no way to deal 1 damage. That's so heartbreaking. This is a big turn in the game here.
And this is the situation that we see in competitive play at the top end very often, is ways to disrupt your opponent's next turn. You know, Hearthstone being a turn-based game, it's not often you can find situations to disrupt what your opponents are doing. But Frostnova Doomsayer is one of the ways to do it, and that's really the power of Freeze Mages. When it seizes back these big tempo turns, this buys them so much time to put together the right pieces. Berkeley does have Mysterious Challenger to follow this up, but turn 7 Mysterious Challenger is not as good as turn 6 Mysterious Challenger.
It is not, especially since he's actually played a lot. Whoa, that is a wild card.
This choice from Berkeley is really interesting to me because it's very rare that we see Ragnaros in any builds anymore, let alone in Secret Paladin. So something about this, you know, this isn't just a choice I think they made. I think they understood this. And this is not a missed sequence here. Secret Keepers will not get buffed off of Mysterious Challenger secrets that are played.
Yeah.
And so at this point, they have pretty much abandoned the Secret Keepers. They have said these are 1/2s and these are not getting any value that we need.
And Rag is actually a fantastic card against Freeze Mage because you can't freeze a Rag effect.
Yeah, it's actually probably one of the most dangerous cards that's in here. Very early on, Reels, actually, before he went to go work on the Blizzard team for Hearthstone, Ragnaros was the card that he touted as the most dangerous card for Freeze Mage. And his builds actually included a copy of Polymorph specifically to deal with that card only.
Yeah.
And so to see that card in there, I guarantee you Polymorph is not in University of Nevada's deck. I mean, the Freeze Mage decks are very tight at this point. And just like you said, you cannot freeze these hits. Ragnaros is going to rain terror on this board for at least a turn or two.
Yeah, probably a couple turns of value, but putting on 16 points of damage is a pretty big deal.
You saw him pitch the fireball at the face of Berkeley. Love to see the gamesmanship from them. But
the life coach.
And look at the reaction from University of Nevada here. They go, Ragnaros in a Secrets Paladin deck? What? This is a nightmare for them right now. This game was looking like it was unlosable for them.
Yeah.
Suddenly, they're facing a card that's going to deal them 16 points of damage.
Yeah, so it looks like maybe just a... This is dangerous because if they do this, Avenge is going to proc on the Rag. Which
normally you're not too worried about, but the only damage reach they have after that is the Frostbolt. So they're not able to kill the Ragnaros with the burn they have left.
Yeah, this turn, if they like Frostbolt the Rag, then ping it and play something like an Ice Block. Next turn, they can Flame Strike, catch the Rag in it, so Avenge is going to proc on another target.
But this isn't a situation you find yourselves in as Freeze Mage versus Secret Paladin very often. Not only is this a new deck, but when do they play Ragnaros? And University of Nevada is running out of time.
Yeah, and I don't know if they just didn't have enough time to deliberate about that, but that Rag, they might have to Pyroblast that Rag in 2 turns.
Wow, look at the resilience that Berkeley has provided with this. The Avenge on the Ragnaros, seriously, is such a big deal right now. And imagine if they even protect it with the Cog Hammer.
No. Oh, no.
TJ, this is a nightmare for University of Nevada. And the Secret Keepers backing this up right after the Flame Strike just happened too. I mean, they have a Frost Nova to delay some of this damage, but it's gonna find its way there eventually.
Yeah, Berkeley doing the life coach Ragnaros flame shot again.
Down to 15. This is dangerous territory.
Okay, well, they can deal with it.
Very, very important draw from them. But now, look at what just happened with the Flame Strike. They used it because this Ragnaros had hit the board. If the Ragnaros hadn't hit the board, they wouldn't have even been worried about this kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a wave of damage has found its way there, and now Berkeley has a win condition.
Yeah, and they can't afford to go for an aggressive play like Alexstrasza here because all of a sudden, if you play Alexstrasza, you're looking at a 50-50 next turn for Berkeley to just win the game with that rag shot.
And you cannot take that risk in this spot. I think you have a much better chance of trying to play a longer game.
Yeah, those Secret Keepers, even though they might be threatening early on in the game, at this point, with a lot of Secrets already being played, with most coming from a Series Challenger, but a lot being played in the early hand, you know those aren't going to pose too much of a threat. So just buying yourself some time. And I lost track. I don't even know what Secret this is. Probably Repentance. Noble Sacrifice. Let's see if this one turns green.
So they can't play the Noble Sacrifice for hand, so it definitely is.
Definitely is.
But, you know, at this point, the True Silver Champion is a terrible draw for Berkeley.
Yeah. Well,
but this is a turn they need to start counting. I mean, maybe it's actually kind of a blessing in disguise.
The Ice Block, played by UNR, keep in mind, buff the Secret Keepers.
Oh, you're right.
Because it's all Secrets played. It's not just your own Secrets. So
you're absolutely right.
The Secret Keepers, they know no allegiance. If Secrets played, they're buffing.
They'll never tell.
Yeah.
Reporting for duty.
So just a small push from Berkeley, but again, you know, this is their win condition, is just to continue to attack and hope that University of Nevada doesn't have the right answers. And Ragnaros was a catalyst to this board position. Now, the one blessing for Nevada is that they have a lot of ways to stall out this board position still. They have the NT Killbot, they got Frost Nova, and they have Alexstrasza. So this Arcane Intellect, you know, they're looking for those super key cards, and the NT Killbot's going to pad this life total. They got to be feeling good about their position still.
Yeah, the later they can afford to use this Frost Nova, the better. And you want to get your expensive cards out of the way first, your expensive defensive cards out of the way first, if you're playing the Freeze Mage, because then it opens up more opportunities later on for you to use a defensive card in combination with something else that you might need to. So playing the Anti-Healbot this turn, as opposed to like playing the Frost Nova, pinging down something and playing Loot Hoarder, I think is a good play.
Well, they continue to find themselves in difficult situations where, you know, they really only have one of two different plays to make, but they mean very different things. And those are some of the toughest turns to navigate. You know, sure, you will pick the right one a certain percentage of the time, but ideally you want to be picking the right one for the right reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, at this stage in the game, this is one of those weaknesses of Secret Paladin. Once they're out of juice, unless they're top decking a big threat, you top deck something like a Shielded Minibot, a Haunted Creeper, a Repentance.
Yeah, this deck is not like Druid.
Trouble.
Like Druid, for instance, stacked with 5 to 7 mana cards in their builds. The Paladin deck is the exact opposite. It's stacked with the 1 and 2 and 3 mana cards in their build. So when you hit these 10 mana turns, ideally you have ended the game already.
Yeah.
But they're working with what they have. And, you know, again, the Ragnaros putting up a very good fight here, but I think Nevada may have recovered this.
Without that Ragnaros, imagine the position that Berkeley would be in right now. Imagine if that Ragnaros was something like a Muster for Battle Even, which is one of the stronger cards in the deck.
Yeah, and talking about stronger cards in the deck, Archmage Antonidas with Frost Nova, this is one of the best ones you got.
Whoa.
And it's backed by an Ice Block too, so University of Nevada, they've got to feel great about their position right now.
Yeah, especially since with getting enough damage from Archmage Antonidas can allow them to play Alexstrasza defensively. Gives them a lot of options.
Or with a second Ice Block, maybe even offensively.
Yeah, at that point, you're not even afraid of dying. You can follow up the Archmage Antonidas Frost Nova with an Alexstrasza, and then all of a sudden you're almost guaranteed a victory. Because normally, I mean, every single Secret Paladin build that I've seen does not run any points of heal, except for True Silver Champion.
Yeah, something else they can look at here too is how effectively they can kill Berkeley. You know, San's a big heal or a Lotheb. They have a 2-turn lethal here. They could just go for the Alexstrasza. I'm sorry, it's a 3-turn lethal here. They go for the Alexstrasza, the Ice Block gets plopped. They use they use the Frostbolt and the Ice Lance, coupled with an Ice Block that gives them the time to play that Pyroblast. So they're going to take a more safe route here. They say that even if you have Lotheb, we want to be able to extend this game as much as possible. I think I like the safe play a little bit more, but definitely a few aggressive options here from Nevada at this stage.
Yeah, Muster for Battle, not the best draw at this stage because they can't even play it. You don't want to override that True Silver Champion because you need the damage. Even the 2 points of health that you're gaining from it are pretty important at this stage. And I mean, Noble Sacrifice, yeah, it's able to be played. You buff your Secret Keepers a little bit, but when they're frozen, it really is not that substantial.
Yeah, they're going to forego the hero power here too. If the board is full, Noble Sacrifice will not proc. So they valuing every single point of health. But this is the stage where University of Nevada is going to turn up this heat. This is a lot of damage crashing in, and without something like Keys and Mystic, I think that University of Nevada has just locked up this series.
Well, with Rag in the deck, you know, a Kizan Mystic would not surprise me too much in this scenario.
Well, we're going to find out. They're down to 6 points of health. They are frozen. There are 3 fireballs and a pyroblast and an ice block on University of Nevada's side. Berkeley, this draw is... Wow, Divine Favor is a huge pickup right now, TJ. 6 more cards to find what they need. They even might muster for battle first.
But if they don't have a Kizan Mystic in the deck, then there's nothing in a Secret Paladin deck that's going to... Lotheb! Lotheb's not going to even do it.
Lotheb's not enough because just a single fireball is going to end this. And that's it. University of Nevada has locked this game up. They're going to win this series 3-1 over Berkeley.
They're sitting on the edge of their seats. Look at that. And the well played comes out from Berkeley.
Yeah, they know the ending here. They're going to hope it's something other than ice block, but it's not. And that's going to do it. University of Nevada.
Yeah.
That's wow.
You got to check for the duplicate at least, you know?
Just in case.
Thank you.
Yep, so there's the thanks. Oh, and here we go.
Oh.
Well, it's going to have to demand retribution on another day because right now it's all University of Nevada.
Yeah, Berkeley was playing it nice, saying the well played. As soon as the threaten came out from UNR, they're like, we'll give you the threaten right back, boys.